Hey, Mark here. I have a really fun giveaway for you. I have 5 Blu-ray copies of Lawman Bass Reeves up for grabs, and if you'd like a copy, just shoot me a message and be like, hey, Mark, I'm a big fan of the Taylor Sheridan universe, and I would love a copy of Lawman Bass Reeves. So yeah, now available on DVD and Blu-ray, Lawman Bass Reeves, the latest series from Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Yellowstone, stars David Oyelowo as legendary Lawman Bass Reeves, and follows his journey from enslavement to law enforcement as one of the first black U.S. deputy marshals west of the Mississippi. Lawman Bass Reeves DVD and Blu-ray includes over 2 hours of special features and exclusive interview. Thanks. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who... Is that a lead pipe in your hand, John Levengood?
This hand? Oh, I thought you meant my old gnarly barn axe hand. Yeah, this is a lead pipe.
Where'd you find him?
Well, I mean, I was in Home Depot, and I was looking for the aisle, and I thought, am I looking for plumbing? And I thought, no. Demons and Other Fiends. So I went to that aisle. It's right next to gardening supplies. And I found something that was threaded just right to properly, lacerate the head of a demon when I strike it.
That's, Demons and Other Fiends aisles in Lowe's, and actually in all good, like home good stores. I love, you got shovels, you have wooden stakes. Like it's a garlic spray. Like it's a truly underrated aisle in Home Depot and Lowe's and other retailers.
It's unfortunate because Dan Aykroyd, when he had his occult bookstore in the beginning of Ghostbusters 2, I feel like Home Depot, once they put in this aisle, they drove him out of business. Like, thank God Vigo the Carpathian came along and put them back in business, right?
Yeah. If you just would have bought some paint and thrown it over that painting in that aisle, you would have been fine. I mean, look at Evil Dead and the shovel work. Like Ash probably started that aisle, I would say, Ash Campbell.
Dude, I can't say that it's a tremendous, margin. I'm not going to say that I wish I could go back in Doc Brown's time machine in his DeLorean to buy stock. But that because of Ash, a couple more shovels were sold. I'm just saying. Shovel sales everywhere that there are horror fans, even if it was just for, a costume potentially or something, like old chainsaws at garage sales that didn't work, right?
Yep.
They were also probably going really well. And denim shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Denim shirts.
Whenever I shovel things, I always think you got something on your face. What? And then she drops dirt on Evil Ed. So, John, while prepping for this episode for Frailty, I came across a realization. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, boy, I hope I'm not on your list, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, so a light is shining on your house right now, John. That's kind of odd. But, okay, so between Lone Star, True Detective, Killer Joe, and Frailty, I really like Matthew McConaughey. I
mean, have we not always liked him, even when he was a little annoying in some of his early
McConaughey.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just deliberately making fun of the fact that no one can spell his name.
No, he's some good. Listen, I wrote about the reconnaissance for Rotten Tomatoes. I've been on it for a while. I saw it coming with Lincoln Lawyer, but I'm telling you, man, just every movie or show where he's been a cop, very good. Lone Star's about to have a Criterion release. I love that movie a lot. Frailty, we're going to talk about today. I adore that movie. True Detective. Wonderful. Killer Joe talked about with Johnny Numb. That's a wonderful movie. So McConaughey, that's where it's at.
Dude, he was way creepier playing a good guy in True Detective.
Yeah.
That alcoholic, emaciated. That was a hell of a character piece.
A lot of Lone Star. That was a great. Oh man, I love that. I'm watching True Detective season 4 right now, and yeah, I like it. It's cold. Completely different from Texas, so I dig that. But yeah, man, listen, Frailty. Actually, what's crazy too is McConaughey is the sheriff of Meat, Texas. Mm-hmm. I love that Paxton was like, I just wanted to have a real Texas name, so I called it Meat, Texas. It makes me happy. Meet Texas. That's
It would
where
be sad if that's where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre occurred.
meet Texas. I just love that.
Except for that, they picked a real place like Tyler, which is what Bill Paxton was thinking about using for this.
Ah, man, I love Meet Texas. That just makes me so happy. But listen, I watched Frailty back when it came out. I was working in a movie theater when it was released in 2001, and I remember walking out of Frailty and just going like, that was a really nice one-off supernatural thriller. I was like, it was mean, it was good, it was twisty, it was turny. The cinematography is wonderful. I mean, the dude who shot Jaws shot this movie, which is pretty cool. Like the guy who shot all the Rocky movies shot this. Bill Paxton is earnest as heck. Matthew McConaughey's doing his best thing. Powers Boothe is good. The kids were good. Like this is just one of those yarns that I love. Like I love a one-off yarn that invents a new story, tells a new story, and then just gets out of there. We've never heard of it since. There's never been a sequel. It doesn't need to be a sequel. It's just a good one-off yarn, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. I feel you. You know, and it's funny you were saying like they're good, this guy's good, Powers Boothe is good, everybody's good. And there are things that were done in this movie that I don't think would have worked in other horror movies by very capable filmmakers. I mean, like people who make real horror films too, not just, you know, horror movies like Freddy Part 5 kind of things, right? And like just how almost nauseatingly wholesome the Meeks family is, and every cliche, like don't let those bed bugs bite, you know, like it's hey, leave some peace for the rest of us. You're a hungry boy. You know, it's like these things that I bet that when people looked at the script, they probably thought, okay, we've got to tone this down. And Bill Paxton probably just had the line readings in his head of how this devout, simple life guy would be delivering these. And they all come off just so well. Like just even like the, oh shucks, you know, like he's only so wholesome.
He's the only guy I think, I mean, this is tough to say, but he's the only guy off the top of my head that could pull this off. Just leave some peace for the rest of us. Like he has this very, you know what's interesting about Bill Paxton is he can be an absolute shit kicker in some movies, right? And then he can be wildly wholesome. He can be in Twister like a leading man, but he's also good in thrillers like Simple Man and One False Move. There's a lot, you wouldn't, like, he's always had range, but watching, now that I've been spending more time with his movies and thinking about his movies, he definitely has a very interesting range to him. And you're right, but he adds this very wholesome thing here. Like, you know, in Twister, when he's just driving around that truck, you believe it. Like, I feel like many actors you wouldn't believe in Twister, but for some reason Bill Paxton is in it, and you're like, I'm sold. Like, he has a very earthy presence, I think. But he can also be a total idiot, like Hudson or what, from Weird Science. What, Chet?
Right.
Yeah, just total idiot. Or True Lies. But then he can bring this very wholesome, like, man energy to a movie. And then this one, yeah, he's just super, you know what's interesting? Like, he's just so earnest about this movie. And Ebert was talking about this film where just, you don't know until the end. Like, this movie really keeps it a mystery whether he's seeing these things or not. And you believe it, though, until you get the flashbacks and the touches and everything's revealed. But he plays it so well. Man, it makes me, I love that he directed this, because I think he got the performance he wanted. And he also pitched, he's like, you know, John, he went to the producer, he's like, hey man, I want to direct this. And the producer was like, crap, I can't say no to the lead star of this movie. But he had storyboards and was all ready, and he brought in all of his friends for this movie, and he got good performances out of the kids. So I think he did a good job. But no, I love it. I love this movie.
He seems really good at, you know, I don't really know if there's a good term for this, you know, like in teaching acting or anything like that, but he seems to be really good at relaxing into roles. And I think that creates kind of the fluency of these characteristics in the characters he's playing. And even when he's Chet just strolling into the room, he crosses his arms with his hands under his armpits with that sneer, you know, bobbing his head like, you know, these shits, you know, like, but he seems to be good at commanding himself to relax into these ideas. And I think other people, and this isn't like to compare to anyone specific, but other actors are trying to figure out how to adopt this characteristic into this character they're playing. Like, okay, I need to be this and I need to be this. I need to jam these things together. How do I make this work? And I think he just relaxes and does it and sees how it plays out. And I think that just however it comes out is how it works. It seems like he couldn't possibly be trying. And I'd struggle. I don't really know the facts behind it, but I'd struggle to see him doing 5 takes talking about leaving some peace for the rest of us. I feel like once he does it once, he'd be like, no, that better be the take. Cause like that, I don't know if I can do that. Cause now I'm going to try and do what I just did. You know what I mean?
That's a great point. And I don't know if I should bust into this yet, but I worked with him, right? On $1 Million Arm. If I told you that 100 million times.
Sure.
And so I was a first, I don't know why, but they brought me in to $1 Million Arm, and I was a first team PA, which means when all the actor stars arrive, you get them their breakfast, and then you get them into, let's see, what do they do first? They go to wardrobe. No, yeah, they go to wardrobe, and then they go to makeup, then they go to hair, then you take them to sound, and if they have to get changed, you have to do the whole process again. And so everyone was really chill on that movie, but I got to work with Bill Paxton. They just handed him to me one day, and they're like, Mark, you're hanging out with Bill Paxton. I was like, what? Like, this is what? And I had the absolute blast with him, man. Like, he hated my hat. He was like, man, you got this straw hat. He's like, I'm going to buy a new one. He just ran around, made sandwiches, and like was cool with all the crew and just was making fun of other stars for being on their phones. But it's funny you say that because every take he did was like 2 or 3. It was like, I got it. It's fine. Like, it was 2 or 3 takes. And he was trying, but he had it. It's very interesting that you say that. He's not doing 5 P's lines. Like, when I worked with him on this and I watched him, he was like, all right, I'm good. Like, he's just such a pro by that point. But I think what you're saying, being comfortable, that's a really interesting point because his role in this, most actors playing this earnest would be very self-conscious, would they not? Like, just playing this, like, hey, say some P's for the rest. Like, that, I feel like that they would play that self-consciously. Or Severin in Near Dark, I feel like they would try to play him like too much of a badass. But the way that he plays him is totally lived in and scary and cruel. So I love that you say that, man. Just, he seems very comfortable in his roles and can I adapt to it, but you don't really feel the trying. I mean, he's just he said he had acting coaches for years, but that's a good point, John. Like, just watching
one of his acting coaches is a victim.
Yeah. He plays the pedophile in this movie. But long story short, man, is the reason I like to tell the Bill Paxton story is he would talk about this movie. He's like, man, I made Frailty. Everyone loved me. Then I made that golfing movie, and no one would hire me as a director after that.
Which golfing movie did he make?
He did a Shia LaBeouf golfing movie. That's fun.
Oh, The Greatest Game Ever Played.
And then,
I love that movie.
Yeah, I know, right?
I seriously love that movie.
Yeah, I do too. But he's like, yeah, I couldn't make another one after that. And then he would just talk to me about this book that James Cameron just wrote. And so it was cool. Like, he just yacked my ear off and I just listened. It was amazing. And when you worked in the industry for as long as I have, being handed someone that cool and like that friendly is really rare, man. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, you and I work Comic-Cons too, and people are friendly, but no one's just, me, I would just keep my distance, keep my mouth shut. Like, do you need to walk this place? That's fine. Like, be quiet. But like, he just was genuinely nice. And they can't all be Bill Paxton and Henry Winkler. Right? Yeah, dude. Like, oh man, he's such a nice, but like, this isn't us going like, yeah, we've worked with these people. It's just working with Bill Paxton. He was just the coolest dude, man. Everyone loved him. He wasn't a pain. Like some actors, right? They're cool at first, but then when you got to tell them to leave their trailer in 5 minutes, they hate you. Like, there was none of that. He just stayed on set. And yeah, so now whenever I see him, I'm like, dude's just the best. Like, that guy's the best. And also too, like, I think Thriller Paxton, like, I think he's pretty great too. Like, he's done some legit thrillers. So I like, there's McConaughey and there's Thriller Paxton. I don't know how you blend those two together, but yeah, that was a long story, but I don't care. I love Bill Paxton and I liked working with him. And that was one of the highlights of my time in the film career. Of my film career. Like, so yeah, that was neat. I like Bill Paxton, and I'm bummed he's gone, but I love Frailty, so that's what we're talking about today. I digress. So, John, what was your first experience with Frailty? You watched this in the theater, right?
So yeah, I saw this in the theater. I saw it, I don't remember if I saw it with my cousin Ryan, who you might have been working with at the theater at the time of its release or not. There's a good chance I saw it with my cousin, though, back, 22.5 years ago at this point. That's like our listeners' age in some cases, although, but yeah, so I saw this movie and this is one of those movies where I'm a little proud of myself that when I was kind of like a shitty 22-year-old or whatever, or 21, 20-year-old when this came out, that I loved it then. And this is exactly the kind of movie where I feel like I wouldn't have been impressed with it when I was like a shitty 20-year-old, but now then like 30 or 40-year-old John would come back and say like, wow, this is outstanding.
Yeah. But you liked it. You left the theater going, that was a good movie.
Dude, I didn't just like it. Ryan and I both loved it from the get out. I remember, so my cousin would come, Brian, who I'm mentioning, would come to play like Dungeons and Dragons up in Gainesville, Florida, where I was going to college for the weekend, like once a month when he was still in high school and I was in college. And I swear we might have watched Frailty every single time he came up. Like we could have watched that 12 times in a calendar year and it wouldn't shock me. And if you told me that we watched it 12 times the very next calendar year, I still wouldn't be shocked. Like we've seen this movie a lot. We put it on in the background while we're getting ready to go out to a bar, while we're eating like pizza after we come home from the bar and fall asleep to it. This was our movie.
And you know what I think? It's just so well crafted. It really is. And it's nice. Like it's not there's some very mean scenes in this movie. And Bill Paxton was talking about during the press screening, like a test screening, 25 people walked out after the first kill. After he killed the woman.
Yeah, the nurse.
Yeah. And it has some mean moments, right? But I don't know, man. It just has a way of like sucking you in, and it feels, even though there's death in it, and there's axes, and there's lead pipes, and there's demon killing, and there's mother killing, and there's twists and turns. It's kind of like a little comfort food movie, which is hard to explain. I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm not trying to insult it by saying that, but you watch it and there's just something comforting about it and just how it's laid out. And it's just economical, shot it in like 36 days, looks good. I mean, listen, dude, they had Bill Butler shooting this. That guy's amazing. And just watching him shoot it, I think all the locations they found, they shot this in California. Like this isn't even a Texas movie. And I wouldn't have guessed. Like they made this look good. But I don't know. I just remember watching it. And I've just always loved it. And when I talk about it, people go Frailty. Like there's nobody I've ever met that's gone, yeah, I don't like that movie. Like I've met plenty who haven't watched it, but everyone who has watched it, it's like, yeah, that's a good movie. Like there's not much to dislike, I think. And I think it brings you in.
I like not joking, but I like making reference to what I call like family therapy horror, like The Babadook, Goodnight Mommy, Hereditary, things that are really, really tense and stressful because of the turmoil in the family. Whereas this is like the family therapy horror where the whole time it doesn't hurt or churn you as much when you're watching it, even though you're horrified for poor Fenton.
Yeah.
You don't really see the horrors that he is imagining through this. We are seeing this, I don't know. It's a very neutral view, even though he, our one more sane family member is narrating this. I feel like a lot of our views are more through the compassionate lens of the father.
Yeah.
And we have asides. Fenton has asides, if you will, but this feels like it's the father's show. And I think and we know how much he cares the whole time. And then we remain more sympathetic to him because we're thinking, okay, he could be crazy or he could be chosen by God. Either way, I sympathize with him. And as he racks up victims, the movie's brutality it's very tastefully limited to the very concept of the horror, because we never see an axe strike somebody, and so the greatest horror that we can imagine is what Fenton feels.
Yeah.
And so it plays more to our sympathies than our actual horror. We feel for the father, we feel for Fenton, and we even feel for Adam because he's so young and he's just going to fall in line with whatever dad says as long as everything's good. And so in a way, you can sympathize with all three characters simultaneously, even though one of them is practically being driven insane by his surroundings, by being boxed out of the relationship they share, by both being the believers, if you will.
And yeah, And it's crazy too because Adam believes, but he's young. So everyone just is kind of like, oh, you just believe your dad. You're going to go with anything. But he really does believe. And then Fenton, you could say that Fenton became a demon because of watching his dad murder demons. Does that make would he have become a demon? Was he a demon? Like
that could permanently ruin a lot of people. And I don't just mean giving them problems. I mean, yeah, that could distort one's own morality, self-destructiveness, of course, right? Like, and we see that in the movie essentially.
Yeah. And
we actually do briefly see that.
And then when Fenton gets put underground and he just gets fed water. I mean, the kid's trapped under the ground. He tries to turn his dad in. But it's interesting. Like, he tries to turn his dad in. His dad's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to stuff you down here for a little bit. It's not a good move. But it's weird. You never, it's interesting. This isn't like Goodnight Mommy, right? Or Hereditary, where people are just straight losing their minds. Or like, there's just the mystery there. It does a good job of sort of playing like on a level playing field. There's no wink that the dad is evil. There's no wink that Fenton is a demon. Like there's a lot of hints along the way. Like I love how McConaughey keeps saying at Powers Boothe, how come you only have your picture of your mom here? Like he keeps going in on that, and the guy's like, oh, you're good. You should be a cop. But it's you keep this interest, and then you get the mystery building with McConaughey. Like he keeps telling this yarn. He was telling yarns long before True Detective, which I kind of love inside of interrogation rooms. But it's it does a good job of just the balance. I think sometimes movies don't have that balance, and you sort of cheer for the person is right. I think this does a really good job of, and I think that comes down to the kid. I mean, a lot is asked of these kids, man. Like Matt O'Leary and Jeremy Sumpter, like these kids do a good job of like kid acting. And he shot this in 36 days, which means he had about 3 weeks with these kids. So he had 3 weeks with Mixie, and he had 3 weeks with these kids. So in 3 weeks, Bill Paxton shot all these scenes. And the commentary, I think any like aspiring filmmaker should listen to, because he talks about his ensemble staging, his 2 shots. He's like, I just didn't have much time for coverage, so that's why I did the shot like this. Like he talks about the coverage he was able to get with the kids and how he shot them. But yeah, the kids' performances are wonderful. But I think that helps having a director on set, right? And just having him there. And he's a super chill dude, so the kids probably loved him on the set. But it 3 weeks. He did all these with these kids in 3 weeks. Like, that's pretty good. Or 3.5 weeks.
You said something interesting that I don't know much about. You just said it's good to have the director on set. Are there a lot of examples of directors who don't spend much time on set during filming?
Yeah, there's monitor directors. So there's directors who sit behind a cache of monitors, and then they have a loudspeaker, and then they tell the person what to do. So they're at the monitor.
So you mean not? I guess you mean like in the set.
Yeah. In the scene. How's that, right?
You.
Like
Okay.
he's in the scene with
literally absent from shooting.
Yeah, like he's acting with the kids, and he can guide them. And as he's directing, he can even guide them when he's sitting in front of them. And it's almost a personal affair. It's not like it's very, he's able to be there with them and guide them. And I mean, when I say 3 weeks too, I'm just saying like 5-day weeks, like getting them on there. But yeah, I know I keep saying this, but I don't care. Like I love, I even love the artificial look of it. It feels like an old school 40s, 50s, drenched in light, a lot of shadows, kind of horror-esque Hitchcock atmosphere. And he wanted that. And I like that the movie has some unnatural lighting. I like the look of that. I like the car scenes. Like, I think the look carries through the entire film, and it makes it very unique to look at as well. Very drenched in shadows. And a lot of it's daytime. So I do like that aspect of it as well. This is fun, man. I've been wanting to talk about this movie for like 23 years, and now we're doing it. So this is nice.
It reminded me, by the way, you were saying how hard it is to work with kids and how great the kids did. And earlier we were going on about like, or I was saying like, I feel like I can find compassion or sympathy for all 3 characters. Remember when Adam is sitting there at the dinner table after they've started this? He says, Dad, God spoke to me. He gave me a list too. He says, all right, sport, let's take a look. Hey, isn't Travis that kid who was teasing you at school last week? Get out of here. One day God will give you your list. Like it was still like an aw shucks moment about the kid being a kid and like lying with all the best sincerity behind it. Although apparently he wanted to kill the kid. In a funny way, he wanted to kill the kid who was teasing him. But I don't know. That thing, scenes like that, just again, that nauseatingly wholesomeness kind of took over that. And so instead of being like, oh my God, this sick kid, you're just kind of giggling at it in the same way that their dad is.
I mean, do you think a kid who's witnessed his dad murdered demons
right.
would you would become a bit desensitized? So if Hank in school and you're a child pisses you off a lot, you're like, well, maybe he's a demon. Like you could. I wonder if you become one of these soldiers for God, if you could go bad. Like you get this power, you kill these innocents. Like these people are screaming, they're crying, you're doing it in front of your family. I wonder if you could turn. Like I wonder if you could be desensitized.
I'm telling you, when I think of people who have more of a frontier life, when I think of a farmer or a rancher or just even more affluent and professional people who have retired who have land, the way that they treat varmints versus their animals are very different. And then sometimes the way they treat animals in general versus people isn't the way that we expect even the most average person to treat an animal, right? Like, why would you give that a name? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or when it's your cow. Oh, this is Bessie. This is my favorite dairy cow. That's a varmint. I'm going to shoot it in the head while it's in the cage with my .22 rifle, and then I'm going to go toss it somewhere where it won't attract coyotes. It's very matter of fact, right? So I could see that, because even though you're writing down a list of names, your idea, Dad, those are people's names. No. These are demons. So he's writing down names, but he's only using the name to find the demon. It may as well be an address.
Yeah.
It is dehumanized in a very ideal way. So yeah, that's going to be great conditioning for, what is it? The actor was 10. I don't know if Adam was playing a 10-year-old or what, but let's just say he was. But an impressionable 10-year-old in, I don't know, not really rural Texas, but very unpopulated suburban Texas, if not rural Texas, back in that day. So yeah, I can see it, man. You can groom a monster without being monstrous.
Jeez Louise. No, because you're just around it. And yeah, people are like cattle. And I also like that Bill Paxton just attacks with the list. And what's interesting too is Adam wasn't about to kill Fenton until Fenton was on the list. Like Adam never would have gone after him. Like he
waited what, almost 2 decades.
Yeah, to be on that. So he somehow kept his code, but he's still going out there and killing these demons almost like they're just, I guess they are like animals to him, I guess. But yeah, it's really, I think the script, right, by Brett Hanley, it's very interesting. The whole concept of this guy gets this thing and I'm going to become a soldier and he has 2 kids and, the demons aren't specifically demons. In Constantine or The Last Witch Hunter, they do a little flick of a thing and you see the demon there. Like that never really happens in this movie. You never really see that. And that's partially because of James Cameron, who he saw the movie and the flashback started earlier than at the end. So the entire movie you would have known that Bill Paxton was seeing flashes, which that would have made the movie not as good. Like you need that mystery until the end. But also, I just want to say, where has Sheriff Adam gotten in his life where he knows Power Boothe is a demon? So he just walks into a police station, knows his face is going to be blurred out on the video. No one will remember him, walks in, grabs this guy in the middle of a police station, talks him into leaving the police station, takes him to a field and kills him, and no one remembers. Like where has he gotten to in his life? Like is he getting brazen? Like did he not want to just wait for him to get out of his car because it would have had the same result? He wouldn't have to tell the same story. Why would he risk his face being seen even though people wouldn't remember him? Like it's
Mark, he risked nothing.
Yeah,
God,
that's true.
Protect him.
Yeah. So but does that mean like he could have easily just bonked him, right? And dragged him away, Powers Boothe.
I feel like if he did that, so we're missing a lot here, right? Yeah, because that wasn't how he learned to do things from his father. So, but we're missing, upwards of 20 years of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't have been able to expedite these tasks very effectively as a preteen and a teenager. So I suspect he was laying low and probably not accomplishing a lot in the way of this God's work until maybe, he was 18 or 20. And then, he probably just kind of learned for himself a little bit. He might have found his own sense of devotion about it. He might have felt that you must let the tried know why they're being tried before judgment is cast. I mean, he's very pious, obviously, even if not, we're citing Bible chapter and verse. He's pious in his way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a zealot who is now kind of self-teaching himself while going through puberty, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then our what I'll call semi-sociopathic phase of late teen to early 20s as a man anyway. Like when we take some real risks or we're figuring out our personalities, et cetera. So I don't know. We're missing a lot. This is in a way, and I don't know if this is in any way intentional, and Bill Paxton doesn't mention this in that one commentary that I heard, but I wonder if someone was almost giving a wink to Jesus, from baby Jesus to 33-year-old Jesus, and what happened. And so, because we have a big gap of a very pious person who, at least from his perspective, is changing the world and fighting a war that billions of people are completely ignorant of. You know what I mean? Like, that's got to create a great sense of import, if not entitled empowerment. And so, he's got a story behind him.
Let's make a prequel. And speaking of empowerment, Powers Boothe is an FBI agent who is a demon. So he's using his FBI agent abilities to be a demon and cover it up. So then you have this sheriff of a town who's an angel and using his powers to, his powers as a sheriff to kill evil. But I mean, do you know what's crazy too is like how many demons are on Earth? Is this in every town? Do demon killers, is this like Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Is there one? I mean, are there more? Is there a Hellmouth? Like what's these demons too? They never really, are they just here for slight chaos and to shift the balance in the world? Like, are they here to, does that make sense? Like, are they here to just create, they never answer that. So everything I'm asking you is hypothetical, but it's, you know what? I think these are good questions though. I don't think this movie needs to be over explained. We don't need a narration in the beginning. We don't need a demon monologue by Powers Boothe like Al Pacino in Devil's Advocate. We just need, listen, Bill Paxton was given gifts by God. He kills demons. And now his son kills demons. And it's real. And that's it. They believe in their code. I think that's all you need sometimes. Like, you don't need the over-explaining. Do we even want the over-explaining, John?
It's like we desire to know, but it wouldn't be satisfying, would it?
No. It's like the Event Horizon stuff with the extra hell scenes. Like, it would just be more like,
Once you see the longer cuts and you get so much as another 10 seconds, it starts to lose its, that actually isn't very well refined the way they did that.
Yeah, people are doing that with Talk to Me too, the Visions of Hell. They're like, we want more. And I'm like, no, just go with Event Horizon. You don't need more. Like, just put the footage.
And that's just it, right? You should leave us wanting more.
Mm-hmm. You should leave
us wanting more.
And also too, I mean, when you watch this movie, I mean, McConaughey, he had turned in really good work in movies like Lone Star. But at this point, what did you think about this role of his? Because, he had done U571. He had popped up in The Wedding Planner. He was on Ed TV as like, well, all right. Newton Boyce in Amistad, he was like super earnest. Time to Kill, he was super earnest. I think the only really tough film he had done, he was also a cop in Boys on the Side too. I just want to put that out there. Like, he had gone a little crazy in Next Generation. He was a baseball player in Angels in the Outfield. He was like, well, all right, in Dazed and Confused. But I think this is the first movie where he really started showing his like character actor McConaughey. And this is like not just, I'm a lead man McConaughey. Like, this showed that he could be part of an ensemble and pull off kind of weird and mysterious. And at one point,
and not be pretty at all.
Yeah.
Well, he's always going to be a good looking guy, but he's always sweating. His hair is messed up. He looks tired. He slouches. He's not dressed sharply. Nothing about him is making him look more attractive.
He looks like a peregrine eagle in certain regards, is what Bill Paxton said, which made me really happy. But like, what did you think about that? Did you even think about that, or?
Back then I probably just knew him from Ed TV and what I'll call Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 at the time with Renee Zellweger. So, I mean, this would be the first. I think he did great acting in Ed TV. I don't want to say the first real acting that he did, because I think there is a lot of wonderful heart in that character. But yeah, it's funny. It's fun on the set. I feel like when things are funny and fun on the set, it's probably not as hard to adopt a role. So yeah, this is probably the first real, and he was just crazed. You could have just done a line of coke and taken 4 shots for the scenes he was doing in TCM 4, the new generation, the next generation, whatever it was from the 90s. That's not a good movie.
And I think you're right. I guess I'm not going to say acting, because in Lone Star he showed that he was plenty great. And Dazed and Confused, just seeing him, I remember the first time I saw him on screen, I'm like, this guy's a star. Like, everyone felt that. Everybody there felt that way about him. But I guess with like Newton Boys, he's in a Spielberg film in Amistad, but he's just super earnest in it, right? So like to watch him in Frailty, this minor budgeted movie, he's reunited with his buddy Bill Paxton, and he's in the back of the car talking about demons and monologuing with Powers Boothe. I don't know. I remember watching this and going like, okay, this is McConaughey trying to like branch out. This is him trying to be dangerous, and this is him trying to be a different Mahay, not just sort of earnest rom-com Mahay. And he followed this up with Rain of Fire too, which was jacked McConaughey, Jack DeHay. But I just remember watching this and just thinking, hey, like this is cool. Like, this is cool seeing him this. He's monologuing. He's quiet. He always has that very thoughtful scene, like, vibe to him. But I just really dug it. Like, I dug walking. Like, it felt like a little bit of a chance, but not like a pretty actor trying to ugly it up or anything. This just seemed like he wanted to take this role and be a character in a smaller movie. And I thought that was neat because he didn't have to. He was coming off of like U571, which was popular. Wedding Planner was huge. So he didn't need to do this role. So it just showed sort of another layer to him, which I liked a lot.
Some gumption.
I don't know. I think he's, I don't know. I just dig this. I liked Rain of Fire too. 01 and 02 McConaughey were cool. Frailty and Rain of Fire. He was good.
I'd never seen like a lot of the other movies you were mentioning until probably 5 years later. Like A Time to Kill, U571. Those were not movies that, like 19 and younger year old John would have watched.
You were like, see, I watch everything, man. I was like, I just would go rent anything and everything. So you were kind of like Hellraiser. But see, what's funny? I think the movies you were watching then.
I was busy trying to see every single horror movie at my local video shop, though. You gotta, like, it starts out, you pick the things you've heard of from your, the upperclassmen or your friends' older brothers, right? And then you start seeing the sequels to those, and then you start seeing things that were in the trailers of that old VHS that you rented, and then you start going with, oh my gosh, well look at the cover of that or the back of that, that's got to be awesome. And then you're like, man, there's going to be boobs in this because I'm 13 and there's a hot girl on the cover. But I was like trying to I never rent the same thing twice, although I did every now and then. I was trying to see all the things. And I didn't even know that it was a collecting mentality. I was literally trying to collect all the movies in my head.
I feel like you watched the movies that I started to watch maybe around 2011. All the horror movies from like the 80s and everything like that. Because I kind of see, this is the thing about me is I would go to Blockbuster and just rent what was new. Like, I just never got taught about, so I just, whatever was new, if a new horror movie was new in 97, I would watch it. Not that I had anything against old school horror movies, but I was just like, all right, well, that looks fun, that looks fun, that looks fun. So I was like, very much so of the time. But it's been fun to go back to the 70s. Like, I don't think I really explored 70s horror until I got into college. And then I went, whoa. No, 18 years old is when I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that punched me right in the stomach. And that's when I started when I became a cinephile, I went back.
I probably didn't start actively looking at 70s movies until the last decade.
Oh, wow.
I would see an occasional one, right? But really, it's a rarity. And now I find myself wanting to see like some 60s movies or going back and doing like all the original like 30s movies.
Yeah. The Draculas and yeah.
Because it's like every now and then you watch an old movie. This is a weird example. I watched Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires, also called Space Vampires. And this is a 1965 movie, and I realized that the space jockey from Aliens that H.R. Geiger illustrated. No, I'm not saying H.R. Geiger's illustration, but the way that it was realized on screen, the space jockey, it's basically a borrowed screen grab with a much better budget and better art department of something from this 1965 movie. And then I'm realizing, holy crap, the movie Life Force, Tobe Hooper, 1985. Way more salacious and big and epic and gory and all these things and creative, but the budget and the effects existed. But that's basically a super exaggerated Planet of the Vampires of Mario Bava, except it takes place on Earth.
Yeah.
And so you start seeing these things and you thought, oh my gosh, like this is such an original movie. And then you realize so many things are borrowed in no bad way whatsoever, right?
We've been borrowing since the beginning of time.
Right. All these inspirations are there. It took me until I was in my 30s to realize that basically every movie that had someone that we referred to as Dracula, unless, it's like in The Lost Boys where it's almost said comically. Whenever there's a Dracula, there are generally three brides or some reference thereof, or seeking a bride, and it's basically a rehashing in one way or another, or a reimagining of Bram Stoker. And I never realized that of original Dracula too. Like it's funny how this stuff is right in front of us and we don't even necessarily realize that a lot of these great ideas, they had to come from somewhere, even if they weren't, again, I'm using the word borrowed. I don't want that to sound negative in any way whatsoever. Inspired by, however we want to put it. But yeah, like now I'm getting into these older movies and it's so cool looking back at a 2001 movie like this. And what's funny is now that I've seen all this 80s and 70s stuff, I see almost nothing borrowed or inspired by. I mean, he can tell me what inspired him and I might see it after he says it, but I would have never noticed.
Yeah, he just really wanted, like, he talked about Vertigo, but like just the use of colors, but I wouldn't say that's really Vertigo in the sense of like what's going on. But yeah, he just used the word gothic a lot in this. And the fact that he created such an original looking movie, I think gives its own unique personality. Also with Alien too, whenever people are like, it's just Alien, but underwater, I'm like, yo, but Alien borrowed from everything. Like, O'Banion was like, hey, steal from the best. That's what they said about Alien. And I love it. Alien's a classic. You can improve upon things, but I don't know. I just want to say, John, I wrote a piece for The Ringer about which year has the best horror movie starting 5. And I had to go through every single year back to like 1919 and put together the top 5 of each. And it's like, led me down this wormhole. Like, I went and just bought Vampire. I just bought a ton of Japanese 1960s horror films. It really opened up my eyes to like each year and the influences. But I mean, whatever. If you look at the movies of the 30s, they're all sequels and creature features, and the 50s was all like radioactive monsters and communists and invasion of the body snatchers. Yeah. And but I mean, it's Hollywood. We work in cycles. Like, look at what the comic, like, look at what Star Wars did. Look at what the MCU did. Like a movie, look at what Halloween did. I know there were slashers before it, but look at what Halloween did. So it's just about following the cycles and like what's popular. Have you seen Peeping Tom? I finally watched Peeping Tom and it's so good, man.
Yeah. That's supposed to be, like people will usually look at like Black Christmas and Peeping Tom as kind of like the major, scene inspirations for a lot of subsequent slashers, especially the eye looking through the cracked door.
Yeah. And when you finally watch that, you're like, oh. Also, I want to say, growing up in the 90s when I watched Tarantino movies, I'm like, this guy's amazing. But he's still great. But then you go back and you watch Sergio Leone movies or Kurosawa movies or the movies that really influenced him from back in the day. And you're like, oh, I know that shot. Oh, I've seen that shot before. Oh, I saw that shot before. But that's fine. He grew up working in video stores. That's where you're going to pull the inspirations from. So, I mean, I see nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of cool that as we expand our movie watching. I mean, we'll never there's always going to be movies we need to watch, but it's fun going back and understanding cinema and where they pulled it from. I feel like it makes you just more informed, I guess, or more mature. And listening to Bill Paxton talk about Frailty, he just knew his movies. He knew what he wanted. He knew his storyboards. He knew his color palettes. And plus, man, he's been around hanging with James Cameron and Bigelow since the 80s. I mean, this guy had been around many sets. So I think
Bigelow Near Dark, is that right?
Yeah, Near Dark. And
yeah.
And I think he just knew, you get an actor who has been around this many sets for that many years. Like I think he was totally fine to shoot this. And also as an actor director, I don't think he could have directed these kids that fast. Like like an actor, like he needed to be there. So I think just it was wise of him to direct this. And I don't think this movie was ever gonna make a lot of money because there's really no sex. There's no stalker scream-esque violence. There's no meta commentary.
There's no titillating aspect to it. And there's not even a screen grab that you could use. Not that we had the internet the way we did that in 2001 as we do now. But I watched so many movies based on one titillating screen grab of like a horror scene. And then I watched the movie and it's hot garbage. And I don't mean the whole movie is hot garbage. I mean, even the scene that had that screen grab, even that shot, that 3-second shot is garbage, but the screen grab somehow looked good or interesting. Yeah. But you couldn't get a good screen grab out of that. I don't think you could.
I think the two best images in this movie are just the Paxton and McConaughey with the axes silhouetted. But that's still cool, but it's like, oh, these dudes got axes. There's not, I think that's just a good shot. It's not exactly Drew Barrymore screaming from Scream.
It's not the image you see on the back of a VHS that would inspire you to be like, I want to rent this.
And what's interesting too? I mean, since this is 2001, well, like 2001 horror movies were pretty aggressive, I think, at the time. There was a different vibe to them. Like we had Jeepers Creepers, there was 13 Ghosts, there was Jason X, there was Bones, there was Joyride. Like these were the movies that were coming out in the theaters, like The Others, Ghosts of Mars, Valentine. So they were very of their era. And then you have
Session 9,
right? Like, and I think there were some great ones that were released, like Devil's Backbone, Session 9, Donnie Darko, Frailty. But I think the majority of the movies that hit the theaters at the time were kind of 13 Ghosts, Scary Movie 2, Jeepers Creepers. They were very aggressive, right? They were just quite mean too. I would say that era from 01 to 05 was pretty mean with some of these movies. Like I think people forget the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that came out in 03? That was mean.
Same year, yeah.
Those were mean movies. And this
really,
this is also the time of Cabin Fever and Hostel and Devil's Rejects, and like it was a mean era. And then to have this, oh shucks, man, you eating all your peas movie come out. I don't think it would have appealed to the younger crowd who were really into, I was working in a theater, no one really showed up. It's like, I just think like 13 Ghosts and stuff like that. Like it just wasn't what people were looking for, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because as you're saying that, I'm asking myself, what is the target demographic? And I don't think there is one. You know how like most things would have a normal distribution curve, and the top of that curve is the target demographic, right? The middle 50% of that curve, or like 90% of the area under the curve mathematically, is your target demographic. This strikes me as a very spiky, or at the very least bimodal curve, where I think that young kids will find it interesting, relating from the kids and how the kids are up front, in lead roles. And then I think that your parent generation, I don't think much in between. I don't think this is for your 18-year-olds. I don't think this is for your 25-year-olds. I think this is for your 40-some-year-olds and for your 15 and unders, which is a weird thing to say about a movie, because I mean, it's hard to think of this stuff on the fly, but I can't think of a movie like that, where the kid characters and the parent character are on such equal footing while still being very important. Normally when the parents and the kids are on equal footing, it's because we're just supposed to care about all these characters that are going to be victims in this haunted house, in Poltergeist, and you know what I mean, in The Conjuring. Not that, well, the kids didn't really have equal footing. They had more minor roles in The Conjuring, but you know what I mean. It's like, it's just for relatability.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Like, I mean, putting kids in danger leads the bank. I mean, look at it, like at Poltergeist. But this one puts kids in danger in a much different way. Like, no one's stalking them, but they're surrounded by death and killing.
Right. And the greatest source of endangerment would think that he was doing his greatest role to protect them and put the greatest stead on earth under God. Right?
I think at this time, right, the movies for the late teens, 20s were what? Jeepers Creepers, 13 Ghosts. Like, those are the movies for the college crowd.
Or Jason X.
Yeah, Jason X. Like, that's...
The Ginger Snaps movie, Blair Witch 2, all the Final Destinations.
Yeah.
These were, you know, and even when they weren't mean, because if they're just mean from effects, I think that they're trying to make you wince, look away. They're trying to push envelopes that way instead. Not necessarily in that what we called like the torture porn era. That was more the Hostels, a little bit of the Saws and the TCMs too, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah.
Saws. But I feel like your Cabin Fever, there was a little meanness in there, but more so it was about making you wince and making you uncomfortable, which doing body horror deliberately more graphically because you have the wherewithal to do it now, or someone took off the reins at the MPAA and you knew you could get away with more.
And boy, did they. I mean, Cabin Fever, the flesh being ripped off and also too, like,
the leg shaving scene in the bath, right?
Oh gosh. And also too, during this time, you know, Chucky got more caustic, right? With Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. Like that whole era, man, was just very aggressive. But you know what though? There's movies like the ones I was just talking about, but then there's movies like What Lies Beneath, which pulled in bank, and it's a wonderful thriller. Do you think that one succeeded because of Zemeckis, Ford, and Pfeiffer, just A-listers in it? And because that one pulled in tons of money, but it's still a very effective ghost story.
You know, it's funny. I remember seeing that. I remember seeing the trailer, and I did not believe. I don't remember having any impression there was anything supernatural.
Oh,
I'm serious. I remember just assuming this was more like a psychological thriller, whereas Michelle Pfeiffer learned more about what her husband did, she was relating to the dead character, the victim, right? And so I didn't even know there was. When I went to see that, I was shocked. And by the way, I didn't see that in theaters because I just thought it was a thriller.
Dude,
I saw that way later, and I'm like, whoa, what a cool movie.
Right, and that one took off, but I think it also has that mystery and that hook.
But it had Harry Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah. You know what's funny? One of the things I remember most about that movie, like it's almost like the most continuous screen time I remember in my head at once. So not just saying like, oh, when her eye color changed and you knew that the dead girl had, assumed Pfeiffer, right? Not that, not like moments or ideas. It's when the two of them are in bed, when everything is good. They're both looking at magazines, or one has a book and one has a magazine. And like one looks at the other and says, do you want to fool around? Yeah. And then they both take off their reading glasses, fold them up, put them down. They both put their books away, and then they start making out. And it just struck me as like a really cute, and it still felt kind of aged, if you will, from my young perspective.
Yeah.
But it also still felt feisty and sexy. And like, I just remember scenes like that, but that's the Zemeckis factor with two great actors, right? We didn't have a lot of movies like that.
Yeah, that was.
Sorry, we just started podcasting about What Lies Beneath.
No, but I like watching my movies like that explode, like, cause that's a real thriller, right? That's, I don't know, I like, that movie blew up. I remember one time I wrecked the ending for some people waiting in line to go see the movie, and I was like, oh no. Because I was saying, as everyone was leaving the theater, I was like, what'd you think about Ford, blah, 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 blah. And I looked over, I was like, oh no. I was like, no, I'm joking. That didn't happen. I felt bad. I wrecked the movie for him. But
Can I give you another movie from about that time?
Yeah.
Oh, you were going to say something about What Lies Beneath?
No, I just think it was a good adult, like adults could go see it and enjoy it.
Totally. So we're talking about that, and that reminds me of another movie where I thought something similar. Because even though the trailer had all this stuff about not voodoo but hoodoo in Louisiana, like the more magic geared thing. I don't know the differences, by the way, folks. I'm not an occult like student, so I don't know all the terms. But I remember in the movie it wasn't voodoo, it was hoodoo, and that movie is The Skeleton Key. And when I saw the trailer for that, even though there were all these references to the occult, I just thought that was a thriller where some characters believed in the occult and believed that they were doing something magical to someone else, right, to curse them or whatever, but that it was just a thriller. When like that can still be very scary with nothing supernatural actually happening, just that they believe it. It's almost like a cult, like a murder cult, who thinks that they're going to find some salvation or say by killing demons that are their grocers and their local nurse.
Oh man.
Right. But that movie was another one where when I finally saw it and I realized that it wasn't just a thriller, I love that movie, by the way. Skeleton Key. I think that movie is awesome.
I need to watch it
but
again.
It has some great actors in it too.
The only thing I remember is that when the woman gets drugged and her head smacks on the table. That's the only thing I remember from that movie.
Oh man, yeah. It's what's her name? Jenna Rollins. Yeah. Who? It's funny. The first time I ever saw her, shortly before seeing that movie, was playing by heart with like Sean Connery and Ryan Gosling and a very young Angelina Jolie.
Oh man, I just remember her head smacking, and I was like,
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, dude. You feel it when you're every time you watch the movie, you feel it, and you're like. Did she actually slip and they just used the take? Is she okay?
Someone got hurt.
That must have been the last take of the whole filming schedule, because there's no way that she was doing other scenes after that.
Oh, dude, and I guess too also with Frailty, right? During this time we had Amityville Horror, which was basically just Ryan Reynolds shirtless, House of Wax, which was very, I don't know, Hannibal, he was even eating brains. Club Dread I love, but it was very like sex forward and gross. So it's just very, I don't know, it was just this weird unicorn, classy unicorn in a very brutal time for horror. And I think it does live on as a cult classic. And I think everyone who's watched it loves it, but I guess you can't make a movie like this starring children that's not like It, or like these kids aren't exactly being hunted. It's a story about the kids. It's like.
And also the kids are doing nothing salacious.
Yeah, and it's just. But you know what, though? That's what makes this movie, I think, a little timeless, is because it's almost like a Stand By Me or a Goonies or something like that. It's about these kids who, not like that, but it's about these kids who are just being kids and growing up with this. Like, I think it has this very relaxing vibe to it, even though people are getting slaughtered.
It's funny. Earlier you were mentioning how, like, this movie didn't make a lot of money, and I'm realizing, like, that that's because he made it the way it should be made.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking of things that sound bites I've heard over the years, right? Like look at the average, I mean literally the average box office gross of movies released in any given year, and then look at the box office gross of the best picture that year. It's probably going to be way below the average.
Oh yeah, it is. And
like when people make real art, like they know that it's not for everyone.
And this is definitely real art. I think it is. I think it's a beautiful little movie. Is there anything else you want to touch in this film?
Oh God,
he touches a lot of people in this film, by the way, and hands are a major motif.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I have a criticism, but it's really not a criticism once I start to break it down. But I always used to think when I was younger and less thoughtful about this movie that it was so stupid that one of his tools from God, one of his weapons, was the gloves. Because he wears the gloves when he is foraging, wrangling, kidnapping these demons. And then once he gets them all the way home, by the way, one of those victims, they said we drove 3 hours outside of town to get to that grocery store. So they drove they probably went 2 counties over. You know what I mean? Or more. So, that gives us a little more scope. I guess it's not every town, right? It's probably every few counties.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he drove hours, 3 hours out of town to get to that grocery store. And I don't think there's a lot of traffic where they live. But that withstanding, so you drive 3 hours, you wrangle the guy, you drive 3 hours and bring him home. And only then do you take off your gloves to confirm that it's a demon. And conceptually, that is stupid. However, then when I think, no, this guy got this gift from God and he was imbued with a sense of how to use these tools. And he's using these tools how God intended. He's doing these things in a special way. And just like he has to bury them in the rose garden, certain things have to happen, right? They have to be killed with the axe. So then it doesn't actually strike me as stupid. It strikes me as following and fulfilling the prophecy and doing God's work the way God dictated, if you will, right? But again, for the longest time, I just thought it was stupid.
Well, I guess if you're trying to grab somebody on the street and you feel those feelings when you're grabbing him and you freeze up and you get shocked, that person could run away. So it's just grab the person, get him in the truck, deal with it
But
later.
Once they're in the truck and they're unconscious, you already hit them with the pipe. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like it doesn't seem to make sense that you wait until you get them all the way home. But again, I don't think that that's the point of the gloves. The point of the gloves is, depending on your view of the movie, I think it's probably going to be more like an 80-20 view of the movie. The 80 is Bill Paxton is nuts, and this is just a part of the mania that was set before him. And the 20 is, this was God truly telling him how to do this. And these are the ways that you do this. And it's almost like a ritual. And he's following the ritual. And at the last minute, just to make sure that you're not, killing an innocent, you confirm. Like once you say it a certain way, it starts, you can make sense of mania. And in Bill Paxton's character's sense, do we ever know his character's name, by the way, or is he just Dad the whole
just
time?
Dad.
Okay. I was realizing I felt very ignorant for not knowing the name of the character that we were talking about all this time. I was like, did I just forget? But to him, this was doctrine. So I get it. And I no longer criticize that. Whereas I probably, for the first 20 or 30 times I saw this movie, I was actively criticizing that. And, one of my favorite scenes too, is when he actually gets the vision of the angel when he's working in the auto garage, and you see that he's like under the undercarriage of the car. And then it's like, what is it? It would be the archangel. Is it Michael?
Or Gabriel, right?
Sword? Gabriel with the flaming sword, right? Like, wouldn't that be Matt Damon from from Dogma?
Yeah.
But so he comes down, and apparently that was his prop guy, his prop manager or something. But so he comes down and with this flaming sword, and he's seeing this vision, and then it pans out wide, and you just see him sitting there like he's dazed or stunned under the car, while everyone else is just walking around like there's 4 other dudes in the shot just doing their regular job.
Oh man! And then remember, he's like, "Hey guys, look at this! I got a weapon," and it's a steel pipe, just a regular steel pipe.
Right. And it really is like if he had just decided, I'm a regular guy, I'm not that resourceful, I don't have the internet to look up or true crime podcasts to learn the best way to do this stuff. I just need to be able to bonk someone on the head. And then he sees a lead pipe. He's like, that's it. That's it's like I didn't have a baseball bat, but I had this 18-inch lead pipe.
Oh
what
man,
the hell?
I just love how he uncovers it too, and they're all like, "Whoa!" And I gotta say, one of the strongest moments in this movie is when the sheriff is killed, and he's like, "You made me a killer." When he said that to Fenton, like, "I am a killer now. I killed a good man."
You already killed lots of people. No, that was a man. Those other ones were demons.
But he plays it off though, like it hurts him, and so once again, I don't know. It's just another good wrinkle to this movie. But once again, it's just a mature, well-made flick that I really enjoy watching. And I've listened to both commentaries. I'll listen to the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm a big fan of Bill Paxton already. So, no, it was just good. It was good. It was good going through this and spending more time with this movie.
it's a patient movie though, right? Like people who are looking for like, when you call something a thriller, excuse me, if you call something a thriller, people want a thrill ride. They want, the 3G turn in the roller coaster, right? Yeah, right. That gets intense. This gets intense, but it's more, I feel like most viewers are going to be intense in their thoughts about what's going on rather than shock or stress. It's just such a different, it's a more quiet movie. Really, the most wild scene, actually, one screen grab. I was saying there are no screen grabs. One screen grab, although there's no blood or, whatever, is when Adam picks up the axe and he starts running with the axe. And it's this little kid with a big axe, not that you can see it very well. You just know it's there. And his mouth is open because he's screaming while he's going towards the body. Of course, if it's on the back of VHS, you don't know that. But I'm just saying, a little kid running with an axe. That could be a good screen grab. I'll give it that. But that was the most intense moment. That was the most shocking, like maybe make someone jump moment that I can think of in the movie.
Is that why this movie is so relaxing to watch? Because like, Don't Look Now, I don't want to watch that a lot. Breakdown, I love it, but I don't know if I could watch it a lot. I think this movie, since there's no super thrills, there's no super chills, there's no high highs, there's no low lows. Fenton is in the basement there for a couple minutes. When Dad gets killed, that's over in a couple minutes. No one gets caught. There's no police chases. McConaughey is never worried about being caught. Powers Boothe, they talk, but he just gets out of there. Like, there's really no, in Scream, the murders that happen and how exhausting it can be, there are no chases. There's just the movie. So do you think that makes it more watchable? Because it's not, for lack of a better term, it doesn't stress you out. It doesn't feature big twists and turns. There's no big plot twist. There's no it's just, you can just put it on and relax with it.
See, I want to agree with you, but I also want to, at the same time, say it makes it less watchable because people want spikes in their blood pressure, in their neural patterns. People want these movies to be shocking, exciting, thrilling, awkward laughs when you jump at something. People want that stuff. People want to be like, see a reveal, and they go, "Oh my God." Here's the thing. When we have the reveal at the end, you don't say, "Oh my God." You're just like, "Oh, okay, that's how that worked." That's all you know what I mean? It's a calm, thoughtful process. In the beginning, when Dad's going nuts, no bomb is dropped. I mean, it's emotionally a bomb. You're thinking about how this is affecting Fenton. That's the bomb. But if you don't stop and think about it, no bomb is dropped on you. This movie really relies on its viewer instead of like most movies that are trying to spoon feed you everything. And Dad is explaining the rules and everything, but in terms of like the emotional impacts of things, how crazy this is, like it's relying on the viewer to realize this.
I don't know. I guess for me, that just makes it a very easy watch because.
Well, if you're a thoughtful viewer.
I mean, like even like the 15th time through, like it's almost, you can just exist with it. Like I just don't want to watch Don't Look Now 15 times. I don't know why I keep comparing it to that. Or Session 9.
That the 1970s movie?
Yeah. It's wonderful. Okay. Yeah. And like, I don't want to watch Session 9 all the time.
Oh, that movie, boy.
It's a comfortable. It's not. But yeah, man. Hey, so how about this? I want to do something. So talking about rewatching movies and movies we love, let's do a draft where we draft horror movies that never got a sequel, remake, prequel, reboot, any of that. It just
and they themselves were not any kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So it can't be like The Thing and then The Thing. It's just a movie that exists and never got a sequel. If that makes sense to you.
Well, The Thing wasn't an original movie.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, I mean. Exactly. So what I'll give you first pick. What's your first pick?
We're doing 5, right?
Yep. What would you pick first?
All right. So I jotted on some notes, and I kind of specifically decided not to pick anything from basically the last 15 years. I'm presuming no rules. That was just a parameter that I gave myself. Because also I don't want to pick something that very obviously could get a sequel or could be iconic in 20 years. So, all right, I'm going to start. Now I'm picking some interesting shit here. I'm going to start with the Manitou, which looks like it's Manitou, but in the movie trailer, if you saw the original trailer for this 1978 zany movie about a 400-year-old dwarf shaman's spirit trying to get its seventh incarnation to goddom in the form of developing as like some kind of a tumor or teratoma on a lady's back. This movie's crazy, folks. Do see it. But I'm saying the Manitou or Manitou, if someone wants to call it that, from 1978. And oh my God, do I wish this would get a remake. I get annoyed when they want to remake a movie that's just 10 or 15 or even 20 years old that still looks great. This is from the 70s. It didn't even have a good budget for the 70s.
We talked about it on the show. Megan and I watched it and we're like, what is happening? This movie's bonkers, but no, it's lovely.
This was one of my picks for us. Yeah, way back when.
All right. So I'm going to do not House, but 1977's House, the Japanese horror film.
Oh, the Japanese movie.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love that movie. And yeah, as far as I know, there's no spin-offs or remakes. I mean, it's such a unique thing. And I didn't see a sequel, but I love it. I show it to my students. It's just a bonkers, wonderful, cheeky, exuberant horror film that exists on its own.
Thing about that movie is that while Evil Dead feels like its own element, there are a lot of conceptual things that point back rather specifically to House.
Mm-hmm. Freaky camera angles, cheeky shots, like lone cabin.
Even aspects of the Contagious Evil, if I recall correctly. That's it. That's a good pick. Okay, all right. So we're both starting in the 70s.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Okay. I might adjust accordingly. I've got a clutch list here. I'm gonna stay in this. Oh, am I gonna stay in the 70s? Bold. All right. I talked the Skeleton Key up, so I'm not gonna go there. I talked that up already. I'm gonna say, okay. All right. I'm gonna save one in the hopper. I'm gonna do Jennifer's Body.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Podcast about.
Yeah. That's a really good one. Yeah.
That's another one where I'm kind of surprised it hasn't literally already been remade. Even though we can say the original was great, people are cash grabbing so much lately.
I think it was just kind of rediscovered. So maybe in a few years it'll be remade, but I think now people are like, oh, I'm enjoying this.
I would like to be able to track back that the day that they remake Jennifer's Body, and by then Megan Fox will just be playing like the school principal in a cameo role, that it is because someone heard our podcast.
Oh, yes. Hey, associate producers.
Right, associate producers. They heard our Jennifer's Body episode and this episode, calling them out.
Okay, John, I have a question. So if a movie gets like a short film, like a short independent film that reaches no theaters or anything, does that count as a sequel?
Wait, what are you asking? No.
So Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon in 2012, it got like this little short film put out about it.
Oh, and then they made a movie of it?
No, it was after the movie, but it was like a little short film. It wasn't. I'll pick another one.
No. I don't think something like that counts.
Okay.
No.
So I'm gonna do Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, because like a tiny short film was out. So I'm gonna put that then, because I love that movie, and Leslie Vernon could come back, but I think as on its own it works perfectly. Like I just love it. You know how much cardio I gotta do?
I haven't seen that in a really long time, actually.
I love that movie so much. All right, what's your pick?
All right, you know what? I'm gonna make a pick that's specifically trying to introduce people to weird shit, like I do with the Manitou. I'm gonna pick Demon Seed, also from the 70s.
Demon Seed. You've written reviews about this, right?
So this stars Agatha Christie. And this movie, I wrote a review about this one. But probably 5 years ago or more. This is about someone who creates an AI device, like a researcher at their house. And it's part of their research. And this AI in the 70s becomes self-aware and develops a longing for a companion and a desire to procreate, and it manufactures its own technological way in this guy's basement to procreate, and it basically kidnaps his wife in the basement and is going to make a child with with this guy's wife. It is a conceptually wild movie. Like in the 70s, people were probably just like, what is happening? Kind of like the Manitou, in fact.
I love your picks, man. This is fun.
I'm keeping it weird today.
I'm going to go to the 2007 Korean film, The Host.
Ooh, okay.
Bong
Good
Joon-ho,
monster movie.
Good monster. You could easily have another creature being spawned from babies or whatever, but it just exists on its own. It's a very fun family drama with a monster with some beautiful set pieces. So yeah, I'm going to take The Host because I just love that movie.
Do you remember in Ron Perlman, Hellboy, was it Hellboy or Hellboy 2? Where it was Hellboy, the first Hellboy, where they were dealing with Samael, the demon, which is this Cthulhu-like thing, but there were a few of them, and they had eggs in the water. And when this Cthulhu thing launched its like tongue or something, and it like bit or hurt Hellboy, when it detached, it had like little itty bitty baby Cthulhu things attached to him.
Oh.
I'd like to think that grew into The Host.
I love it.
I'd like to think that grew into it.
So it wasn't Scott Wilson, who's also in The Rise of Leslie Vernon. It wasn't him dumping stuff down there. It was a Cthulhu monster. Right. Oh, I love it. All right, what's your fourth pick?
Okay. Fourth pick. So I was literally mentioning earlier how Life Force really borrowed so much stuff. So I'm actually disqualifying Life Force 1985 from my own picks. But I've got a lot of good ones. Just reminding people that that's a wonderful movie that they really need to explore. This epic side horror nonsense with Patrick Stewart. But I'm going to pick The Faculty.
Oh, that was in my list. Yes, I love it.
1997 for the steal.
Yep, that was a big steal.
With Josh Hartnett and the most hideous haircut that almost anyone has ever had without literally playing an insane character.
90s hair Hartnett was a mess, and he admits it.
It was also horrible in H2O, right?
Yeah.
It was horrible there too.
So bad, and he fought about it too. Like he did his own hair. But no, I had The Faculty, man. It's a perfect one and done. And everyone loves it now. Whenever people talk about The Faculty, everyone goes, Faculty. Yes. Perfect.
Like geek nod.
Yeah.
Faculty.
Robert Rodriguez. Crushed it. Dude, that's a perfect pick. All right, so since you took that, I'm just going to jump to... Okay, so I talked about Near Dark, and I've talked about Session 9, so I'll take those out. I'll go to Event Horizon.
Good pick.
Because, I mean, they lost the negative...
Hellraiser in space better than Hellraiser in space.
They lost the negatives of that, and it's, it didn't do well, and we talked about it, but it's just...
The Transylvania salt mines. It sounds like a joke. It sounds like an urban myth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's true, which is crazy. Like, yeah, they found it in a Transylvanian salt mine. They must have hated that movie. But yeah, so I gotta do Event Horizon, because we love that movie. It's a good one and done. So yeah, I'm taking that. Event Horizon.
Solid pick. Okay, all right. All right, I'm down. Okay, I've got 3 80s dark horses locked and loaded. I'm just going to share what they are. I've got The Possession, just Possession with Sam Neill. Also Sam Neill, just like Event Horizon. Boy, you get a movie where a woman is slipping into hysteria and demonizing her relationship problems as a Cthulhu-like octopus monster that she feeds men to and has sex with. I don't know. That's a pretty good pick. I got Dead and Buried, 81, and I got The Company of Wolves, 85. I think I'm going to go Dead and Buried, though. So I rewatched Dead and Buried about, it might have just been last year or 2 years ago. And this is an exceptionally thoughtfully made film. And I'm calling it, and I'm saying that specifically instead of saying horror movie or horror film. Like it's got all the typical 80s horror stuff going on with weird, goopy kind of gore at times or some mean burning alive scene and some cultish aspects. But this movie, is very plotty, and all the actors in here, they showed up like this is just some drama hitting the box office. Like, they're not treating this movie like a horror movie. It's very, very well made. It's a really cool movie. It's got a really great twist. So if you're hearing me talk about this and you haven't seen Dead and Buried and you like 80s horror, don't even watch a trailer. I swear, don't even watch a trailer. Just go watch this movie. If you like 80s horror, you like 80s horror effects, you like some gore, you like a good story, this is your movie.
Oh.
Just go see it blind. Dead and Buried.
I love it.
I reviewed it, but it spoiled the high hell. So don't go look at my review to decide if you want to watch it unless you want it spoiled. I really hope you don't. But I hope you watch it.
So there's some awesome ones out there, right? I Saw the Devil, Brain Dead, Get Out, Cabin in the Woods, Event Horizon, Oculus, Videodrome, House of the Devil. There's Chopping Mall, which is incredible. There's Idle Hands, but I'm going to take Night of the Comet because I love Night of the Comet.
That's I was looking at some Night of movies, and for me, what I was considering putting on my list was Night of the Creeps in that similar era. But yeah, Night of the Comet, that's a good one. Did we podcast about that?
I did that with David Cross, and it's interesting. He's like, Mark, watch this movie. Don't do anything. Don't look into it. So I just put it on, and the opening scene, one of the scenes where the zombie attacks the lead actress, and she beats the crap out of the zombie, and then she gets on a motorcycle and then just speeds away. I was the happiest I think I'd ever been watching a horror movie in years, because that movie really does, like, that's what Buffy was based on. Like, you watch Night of the Comet and then you watch Buffy and you're like, oh, Joss Whedon even said it. Like, like, that movie, Buffy, like, that iteration came from Night of the Comet with the cheerleading outfit, and they're just badasses and they're just talking, but they still like dressing up, but then they'll grab an Uzi and they'll start shooting at people. And I just love that movie. But watching, normally in any other horror movie, the actor would just be torn apart by the zombie. Instead, she just beats the crap out of it and hops on a motorcycle. Like, it's not even her motorcycle. She just gets on it and speeds away. And it's incredible. So yeah, it's Night of the Comet for me. That
was one of the really early, like, true horror comedies. Not just, a horror movie where some kind of goofy shit happens, but like that and Return of the Living Dead, and there's several others back then. But there weren't really like really horror comedies back then. Night of the Comet would have been one of the kind of trailblazers for that.
Yeah. And it helped Buffy get us. You watch Night of the Comet, then you watch Buffy, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And Catherine Mary Stewart's perfect
shooting
in it
machine guns, learning how to use a machine gun while wearing a cheerleader outfit.
It's funny, they know how to use it. Like Uzis suck because Dad never tells us to shoot an Uzi because the clips get stuck. Like they prefer other machine guns to Uzis, which makes me really happy. But yeah, I like it. So John, you have The Manitou, Jennifer's Body, Demon Seed, The Faculty, and Dead and Buried. I have House, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, The Host, Event Horizon, and Night of the Comet.
It should be treated as a watch list.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, I mean, you can cross off the ones you've heard, and whatever remains, whether it's all 10 of them or not, that's your watch list for the next 6 months. Like, get on that.
Yeah, that's a good list. That's a really good list. But hey, John, before we get out of here, where can people find you?
Oh, if someone was bored enough to Google John's Horror Corner, they'd probably find me on Instagram, on Movies, Films, and Flicks. I have a little tab at the top of the website. Instagram, Twitter. I even do a Threads, but I think I'm too old to understand Threads, or maybe Threads just hasn't found its footing yet. And I'm even on Pinterest, but I think I either don't understand Pinterest or what I'm doing doesn't work there. So again, speaking my age, I have a gray beard.
Well, this was awesome, man. We did it. We talked Frailty.
It's been a while. We've been threatening for at least a decade.
Yeah, we've been doing this podcast now for 9 years. So yeah, we started 9 years ago. So we did it. Now it's done. Now on to, we got to talk about it because we have a lot of ideas coming. But we still have our Kurt Russell series. We still have our Dolph Lundgren series. So listen to those. And also, thanks to everyone who listened to Hell or High Water. That was our most listened to episode of 2023.
I'll say Event Horizon was also a big
Yeah.
favorite historically.
That was very positive. But it's kind of cool though. 2023, people are like, I like Hell or High Water. That's pretty neat. It makes me happy. Because that's a good episode, and it's a good movie. So, yeah, this is great, man, and thank you for joining me.
Cheers.
All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for John Levingood, this is Movie Sales and Flicks. We'll see you next week.